We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved.
Until we get pay equity,
we shall not be moved. Until we get pay equity, we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water, we shall not be moved. We're marching here for fairness, we shall not be moved. We're marching here for fairness, we shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water, we shall not be moved.
Four-part harmony now.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's standing by the water, we shall not be moved.
As Arlo Guthrie said, if you want to end war and stuff, you got to chant loud. What do we want? When do we want it?
Now!
All right, we're going to keep that up.
what do we want?
Equity!
When do we want it?
Now!
We shut down all the library branches today, and for the first time in our history, we're on strike because 15 years ago, our employers promised us pay equity along with all the other public employees in the Greater Victoria area. Well, they broke that promise.
15 years later, how do things stand? Has pay equity been achieved and fully funded? Are inside workers, mostly women, paid the same as their comparable outside workers' jobs? Let's see. City of Victoria, check. Pay equity has been achieved there, achieved and fully funded. Municipality of Saanich, check. Achieved and fully funded. Esquimalt, check. North Saanich, check. Sydney, check. Oak Bay, check. The Capital Regional District, check. The Greater Victoria Public Library, oops.
You know, in 2001, Gordon Campbell went to the BC Libraries Association and he said, "I believe you deserve significantly more funding." That's when he was trolling for votes as the leader of the opposition back then. And he said very eloquently, actually, that he understands and appreciates the role of libraries in a democratic society and the link to raising literacy rates in our province. And he said the province, again, should substantially increase funding to public libraries. And when he became Premier, he said the Treasury couldn't afford it. Well, I don't know if you've noticed this, but BC's surplus this year is $4 billion.
This is my very first Labour rally. I guess it takes a big issue and a right one to get me out. The library's a kind of a miracle, I've always thought. There is no other public institution that remotely resembles it, that welcomes all of our citizens and never queries why or whence they came. It not only provides an absolutely vital cultural and educational function, but it stands as a symbol, the best symbol I know of the kind of civil society of which I want to be a member.
So, you know, you've got single mothers, single fathers out there with kids trying to live on 71% of what the male worker makes on average in Canada. That's what women make on average, is 71% of men's wages. That's what library workers are looking at now, do we get to pay 71% of our hydro bills? No! Our gas bills? No! Our rent? No! So let's talk about pay equity and let's end gender discrimination now.
Now, I don't know if you can all remember 15 years ago, but let's see now, that was back in the last century! The last century! That was before O.J. Simpson's murder trial, when O.J. Simpson was still a respectable name.
I don't pretend familiarity with all the contract issues today, but I have a passing acquaintance with the pay equity issue and used to have a fairly intimate knowledge of GVPL governance. I know that the library makes up an embarrassingly tiny portion of the municipal budgets, and I know that if pay equity was implemented over time, the overall impact would be vanishingly small.
The library's total budget in 2005, which is the last year I can get figures from on the web, took up less than 3% of all the taxes the municipalities collected. Less than 3%.
And you know, I noticed one of your libraries is called Nellie McClung. 1929, Nellie McClung was one of the women that got women the vote. Well, you know, here we are, almost 90 years later, trying to get pay equity. Nellie's spirit is in that library, and Nellie's spirit's here today, and it's saying, go for that pay equity.
The bottom line is this: when we look at great cities around the world, they have many things in common, and one of the things they have in common is great library systems. Every single one of them. And Greater Victoria and the province aren't doing enough to give Victoria residents the library service that they deserve, that you work at. When local governments, and I make this point to City Hall here, when local governments deal with workers who, for a living, open people's minds, they shouldn't come to the table with a closed mind on an issue as important as pay equity.
So today, you're on the front lines of a very historical fight for all CUPE members. And this is a fight that we have to win. And this is a fight that we will win! Right on! Carry on! Good job!
We shall not be moved like a tree standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved just like a tree that's standing by the water. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved.